Typically, I'd been a Ford man, where I actually worked for corporate Ford for 10 years and got to drive some of their trucks. And when they went to the 6-liter engine, I started having some difficulties. So then I had to make a choice on what I was going to be driving next. I actually took a Duramax out for about a year, and it was okay, but it just didn't seem to have it. And what I should have done is, in the first place, I should have just gone out and got a Cummins. It was a natural thing that I should have done. I was just kind of being a holdout, and I didn't want to be like everybody else in the shop, and so I was not going to have a Cummins. Well, that was a big mistake on my part. About a year and a half ago, we just finally got tired of fixing that Ford up. My wife and I, we travel 10 months of the year. We pull a 23,000 pound load, basically combined vehicle load throughout basically America. We'll put on about 100,000 miles in a year, traveling around visiting our dealers, visiting and doing shows like the May Madness show that we're at today, and just giving out talks, displaying our products and that kind of stuff. Well, anyway, I started looking for a truck, started to look for a common rail. Didn't want to buy a new one. Common rail was what I was actually looking for, but I just couldn't find the right truck. I wanted to have a dually, I wanted to have 4 doors, I wanted to have a long box, and I just couldn't find what I wanted. He came across this truck in North Carolina. So I actually bought the truck on his recommendation, sight unseen, even though it wasn't really what I wanted, knowing with 165,000 miles on the truck already, wasn't even a concern for me. The engine we knew we would have no issues with. The engine is basically bone stock except for the head gaskets. Virtually has been trouble-free. It's just a toe and stump monster compared to anything else I ever drove, whether it was a Duramax or the Ford that I was typically most comfortable with. Typically, I pull a 38-foot toy hauler around the country with all my show stuff inside. Combined weight of truck trailer with no water in the trailer at all is like 23,800 pounds. And there isn't a hill in the country that I can't climb at about 50 miles an hour. Average towing speed is going to be 70 miles an hour probably. The truck, and I got it, it had 165,000 miles on it. It now has just about 300 in just slightly over a year. I just don't have any issues with it. The truck never sees any more than about 1,150 degrees exhaust gas temperature. Water temperatures run fine. It's just a stump pulling, trailer hauling monster. About the only thing I could say that I'd like to have is I'd like to have probably be a mega cab. And then I'd probably lengthen the frame, but I'll guarantee you from now on it'll always be a Cummins. I basically don't even have to think. I just turn the switch on anytime I take my foot off the throttle. It automatically activates the brake, and I can descend pretty near any hill in this country, and without doing anything else, I usually don't even have to touch the brakes. The original front brakes, I just replaced them, and I know they had over 100,000 miles on the front brakes. And typically, front brake issues for people who tow are critical. They usually go through those. With these, I just don't touch the brake. You know, you pick a speed, activate the exhaust brake by taking your foot off the throttle, and you continue on down the hill with no issues whatsoever. It'll maintain that speed. For instance, everybody has heard of the Siskiyous in California, or the notorious Grapevine. Been the scene of many a vehicle and trailer wreck. I can actually not touch the brakes going down that hill and maintain 55 miles an hour. Wow. Yeah, it's incredible. I was actually really surprised that Cummins never came out with one until he came out with the one in the newer style trucks now. I know you had the Jacobs brake before, but it just never really did take off in popularity. But anybody who ever has driven a Cummins and towed with it without an exhaust brake and then changes to an exhaust brake will never go back to without it.